It's the Redirect Podcast. Search industry research, discussion, and analysis from the Black Truck Media and Marketing Headquarters. And now, redirecting you to the Black Truck team.
Welcome to episode 27 of the Redirect Podcast. It is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. I'm Jason Dodge, founder of Black Truck Media and Marketing. Welcome this week by entire crew, Ashley, Patrick, and Adrian from the Black Truck team. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Woo!
Hey.
All right. Don't sound so enthusiastic, Patrick.
I'm excited.
Wow. Way to go. All right. So I guess, we're past the holidays now. And we're well into 2018, and Patrick is super enthusiastic about the year here. So, which means I'm going to make you go first.
Okay.
But our goal here is we're going to share a bunch of kind of what was in 2017, maybe looking ahead this year as to some things to come. Whether there's, I'm not going to say predictions, but changes to come. So, fire away.
Sure, yeah, I have a list of different things in here and different topics. But I might just cherry pick a couple off here because I imagine there's probably going to be some carryover between you guys, and I don't want to steal your conversation points unless I could just continue the conversation.
Always.
The first one I want to discuss, I think, is going to be kind of a bold prediction. I think voice search and digital assistants are going to fizzle out, and they're going to be looked past. I don't feel like they are impacting life the same way. I mean, it was a big deal when smartphones suddenly had browsers on them, or you were able to did all the things you could do on a smartphone. But the digital assistant or the voice search isn't changing the way people operate fast enough in order for it to be as big of an item. I think we first had Siri come on in, I don't know, was that 5 years ago now? And then everybody else kind of caught up, and now Siri's kind of in last place. Yeah. And I think everything else is going to come back that way. It's just not doing enough to alter the way people can behave in order to have the trends continue to be as strong.
Okay, so to take it a step further, because I don't agree, and that's fine. I think you're right from the sense that it's gonna plateau, but it's gonna plateau for maybe the right reasons, and you have to look at it from a commerce perspective, other than talking to Alexa and syncing up with Amazon. I think that's the power play. It's based solely off of their platform, so it's the channel, it's the platform in which they plan to do reorders and subscriptions and things of that nature, or music, and so lifestyle oriented items. Where is this? How do I find that? What is this? Versus maybe more intent-based search queries like you're used to dealing with in Google search.
Yeah, I think that the limitations, like you said, that it's platform-based, a lot of it, and there are limitations, and where those plateaus are, I think, is where ultimately the breakdown will occur, because there isn't a universal way to do it.
Fair enough.
Well, and people already fall into camps, right? Like, you're either like Team Siri or Google Home or Alexa or whatever, so it kind of is need-based, and I think I love the idea of it being more universal, but I'm not sure why Siri would recommend somebody else or something else outside of like the Apple world, you know what I mean? Because that's part of the gimmick, right? Is like you're already applying a filter, like Google Home's giving me Google, right? So like if you're advertising, everything in that nature is based on the top part or the first page of that search, essentially, which we're always sort of messing around with our Google Home, which is fun because I can't even believe that this is a thing. Like it's so like outside of like my childhood where you had to use an encyclopedia. And
now I can just
speak
and ask you questions.
Right? But I think like they have to figure it out, right? So they have to either all of them have to get better in their space. Or, like, some people I know have ones, and they kind of semi-communicate with each other, although not, in the way that, would be super creepy, like the robots are taking over. But I think they have to definitely get better. If not, they won't be able to grow. Because their limitation is a software. It's the learning, right?
Right.
Well, and I think we talked about it in an episode
We're still not like
early in
Black Mirror
2017.
yet, you know?
No, we're
We're
totally
still
not.
safe.
Yes.
It's something like the adoption rate is not there because the devices, the accuracy has to be something well over like 92 or 95%, I think the stat was, in order for adaptation rate for people to kind of come as the masses. But they've come a long way since then, and throw a major shopping holiday in there, and deep discounts by all of the players.
Right.
People are buying
Oh, yeah.
now.
You can
What's
pick
the
up
likelihood of
Google
getting it?
Home for $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insanity.
So
know?
are you new to Google Home? Are there a user of it?
This year, yeah.
How long have you
or
got it?
2017. I don't know, since like October maybe.
Have you, has it changed the way in which you, let's say a standard Tuesday evening,
Right.
does it change the way you do things around your house?
I think I have to use it more as a tool because you have habits. You turn on the TV with your remote. You look up a recipe and go to your kitchen with your tablet. Like, I haven't, I guess, like, exploited it enough yet. Like, I haven't trusted it enough yet. I haven't given it enough to do, basically. And part of that is, if you think about it, it's delegation, right? Like, you're delegating a task. And so if I think about, hey, Google, turn on Netflix and play, Peaky Blinders or whatever, but then I'm training myself then to use it as opposed to just turn it on. I mean, so you have to, I don't know, I have to be rewired to use the Google machine.
Yeah.
And I'm just not there yet, I don't think.
And I think that points to maybe a slower adoption rate, but I don't know. I'm very what's the word?
Analog?
Well, yeah, but I guess in response to your prediction that it will fizzle, I'm skeptical of that, but I'm very curious to see if you're correct on that, because I did some quick research before this because my topic is also on voice search, and let's see, I think it was like Siri was introduced in 2011, I think, and then Echo, Amazon's Alexa. Echo was released in like 2015, which I was kind of surprised by that because really I feel like these assistants have just like taken off in the last year.
You're correct.
Yeah, especially with, like you said, just like the crazy sales that have been run on those. So I don't know. I find it interesting.
I think it's consumer. It's all consumer behavior. It's straight up consumer behavior and what an individual is willing to like interact with, and it started with Siri, which footnote, like Apple bought that technology.
Yeah,
Apple didn't create
right.
that technology. So it started with Siri and horrible user experience. Still to this day, I think Siri has a horrible user experience. Migrating into what is now, Google Home and Alexa. I don't know. I'm probably more with you, Ashley, on the sense that I'm not going to say that I don't believe fully, I guess, in what Pat's saying. I think you're right. It's going to plateau out a little bit, but I'm more anxious to see what channels it goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it used for?
By no means am I saying ignore it, and not if there's an opportunity for us as SEOs to help advance it.
Yeah.
Definitely, let's do that. However, I think that maybe this is the curmudgeon in me. A lot of us are victims of good marketing.
Sure.
We've been sold a batch of goods on these products, and that's why people at holidays are like, they're on sale. You can get them for nothing, so they're in your house. So they're getting the item in your house, so then they can later learn how to use it.
Think about this to kind of end and to end that one. The biggest advancement that's happened in the past year with all of these voice search and home devices is the connectivity. So the theme of connected devices
Right.
is now that folks at like iRobot, so that make the Roomba and things like that, have a team that's dedicated and they work directly with the Amazon Alexa team, or even some of our clients that work in the connected devices space. They work directly with the Alexa team or the Google Home team and things like that, because they're getting requests from their clients or the products they're working on to be able to connect and interact. That doesn't mean that commerce is being I guess that commerce is a mainstay theme there. It's more of using the device to interact with other things in your life. Per Adrian's mention, hey Google, change the channel or turn this on, do this, that automation theme.
Right.
But it just so happens that it comes along with it that we have Amazon powers it. So hey, while I'm at it, I need some laundry detergent. That's like
Right.
the Gillette razor of the day.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's fascinating to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think we're going to see the big ramps that we've seen come to any kind of massive society-changing way in which we operate, the way the advent of the smartphone.
So Alexa's not going to bring water to third world countries.
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not.
All right. Well, I look forward to following that one.
I think this is a nice segue because we're talking about accessibility. Does it increase like adoption or use? And I think that something that really missed the mark in 2017 was virtual reality or augmented reality.
Totally agree.
You can't like get an email update or read a tweet that doesn't have it someplace embedded. That this is going to change how we do life, right? Same with like all of the smartphone technology and the devices and whatnot. Like that, it's cool. It's a cool tool, but to produce content for it costs, way more than
At
any
scale.
budget. That if you're like a Nike or like an Amazon, you're going to be able to do that kind of stuff. But if you're, let's say most of the clients we serve, like they're not going to dump, a cool $1 million into like creating content for that in 2018. And I think in 2017, it, again, just like the home devices, they're more a novelty than an adopted norm. So I think that while it's got the cool factor, like you said, it goes on sale, it's priced right for the home stuff, so you buy it. I don't think we've, like that augmented reality has hit that yet. And it's totally unable to grow then if you don't have accessibility. Remember when like Google Glass and they try, just even like watching people use it, it looks dumb, it's clunky. You're not going to walk around with an AR headset on for like, you're just not going to do those things because it's not only is it not socially acceptable, it's not, it's not reasonable.
I
really.
think too, it's a classic case of, so the home devices or virtual reality type devices too, both of those it's a classic case of let's produce it, throw it out there into the marketplace, and then see which industry picks up on it. Because virtual reality AR totally, I think, has a good fit within architecture and design and things like that.
There's lots of spaces it's great at.
Are you going to sell me on spec on paper for this real estate investment, or are you going to let me walk through it and experience it? Totally, 100%. Here's my wallet, take my money.
Yeah.
Versus other industries, I don't get it. So I think
And
that's
that's
a really
something
good
that
one.
I feel continuously gets talked about, just like all of the smart things, smart home, smart this, smart that. And I just don't know if it's adoptable.
This fall, I was in a home that was a new build, and it had the Google Home, and it had lights that were connected. They were rewired, and they had sensors in them. So they told Google to dim the lights by 25%, and it did. However, it was a new house and had to be completely rewired, and then it still only worked half the time. And like they couldn't, like the husband and a wife of the house didn't quite remember what was like the command. Was it like, hey Google, dim the lights, or do I say turn the lights down? And then the kids would come in and try and say something else, and and that's a house that had been updated,
So two big things, common themes here in 2017 and even looking forward, whether it hit the mark or not, and moving forward to 2018, is that we're so on the search side of things, Google's thrusted us into this machine learning driver behind its algorithms, and then on other sides of technology front that we interact with, AI, artificial intelligence, but more so on the machine learning side. So what does that, were there any, I guess, blunders that you guys saw in 2017, or things that are going to continue to increase? So things that I keep tabs on, the mobile first index is the big thing, right? That everybody's still trying to kind of figure out when is that going to officially hit. Snippets getting longer. That's like a most recent change. So we start to see some of the landscape in Google search change too.
I made some notes about SERPs have become unrecognizable. I think there's a correlation between descriptions doubling along with tweet length doubling. I think us as a society is learning to read a little bit more in list format. I think the goal is going to be to we've known this for years about Google. They don't want us to leave.
Right.
They want us to stay on Google. So they're making a SERP give us all the answers we need. So we might ultimately not have to click on anything or touch or tap or whatever. We as consumers are able to consume a little bit more. That's why we're now seeing 300-word descriptions. They're 300-character descriptions versus 155 descriptions.
True.
That's interesting too, because when you think about how our attention span is shorter, like you keep reading things about as far as for written content, keep it short, but yet on the search engine result pages, they're getting longer. So I think that's really interesting. How does that?
Well, as the snippet changes too, so the biggest shakeup there is going to be featured snippet, as opposed to snippet. So featured snippet, the one that's being highlighted at the top, that's going to be the driver for Google Home or these types of voice to search operations. If the snippets are able to get longer, does that mean that space becomes even more volatile, and then the Google Home devices and things like that can start to read down the list even more, because it gives much more of a description, meaning Google can then decipher and then take into action.
Well, and the timing for video is changing too. So not only as a marketer do you have to look at now 240 tweets and all of these other things we just talked about, but also the recommendations for video content are changing. So you should also have in your bag, besides the 3, 5, 10, 15 second video, the recommendations now are changing to also, if you have done your job right and you're leading with authenticity and I've established a brand that people follow, then you should also offer longer form content from 10, 15 to 30 minutes. And even Facebook is trying to become a TV station, right? So now we have Facebook Watch. And all these things are leading to longer content, which actually has already been established on YouTube since YouTube.
Yeah, years.
And so it's interesting to see that people, it's like anything else, right? You try something, it becomes the norm, and then people don't want the norm anymore. They want something special. And so this specially curated or created content is something that people are really making the push for, a la a television show, right?
And the migration is that, there are things that I know that I subscribe to on YouTube. I watch a lot of content on YouTube, and some of those have gone from long format on YouTube to their own standalone that they're monetizing on, meaning their own standalone channel platform that they're monetizing.
So now we're not looking at, as many contacts. We're looking at depth of context. So it'll be interesting to see if that impacts how ads start to become. Are we going to get more for ads? Are we going to get less for ads? Are we going to get, what are we going to get?
I think what we're going to get is we're going to get better audience targeting. So in 2017 we got better audience targeting. So both Google and Bing, I'm looking at even my notes now too, because that plays really well into that, is that Google, certainly the mainstay, Bing, this underling, offered up advertisers kind of new means of targeting audiences, and a lot of that has to do with the way that we're interacting with content, short content forms, long content forms, video, how we're talking to our devices, things of that nature. So Microsoft's going to integrate their LinkedIn graph kind of as we speak. So
they launched video this last year.
They launched video. Yep. And then Google is also offering up targeting based on life events. Think Facebook, right? I moved, had a baby, that type of thing. And then the improvements to customer match types. So all of a sudden we're able to target people based on physical mailing addresses and phone numbers and other data points. So analog data now being better used by your digital marketing strategies to test too. And all of that comes from this interconnected, the interconnected world we've got. So yeah, interesting.
I think 2017 was the year that we realized that social media is not fun anymore.
Good point. Yeah, I mean, how many of these air quotes social media experts are now probably like, I don't want to deal with the negative crap that comes from Facebook comments.
So,
right?
I think that people have realized that it's ugly, it's polarizing, it's politicky, it might be run by Russians, who knows?
It's totally run by Russians.
Right? But it's also good. And I was looking over Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all released like a 2017 year in review of their top moments and things of that nature. But the biggest moments on Facebook was number one, International Women's Day, the Vegas shooting, the Super Bowl, and then Hurricane Harvey. So not only did people get together to sort of be happy and celebrate, but they also combined efforts to do good, right? Social good. But, in supporting people in crisis and whatnot, I think particularly in our political environment, I think that we're starting to see polarization of people. And so maybe your friend you thought was this person is really this other person, and having kind of that come to Jesus moment where you're like, you always knew people were not exactly who they say they are on social, but now there's like proof of that, not just your conspiracy theories. So
would you say, by show of hands on people that are listening to a podcast, would you guys say that from a social interaction, would you say that you are more active socially now than say at this time last year, so the beginning of 2017 to the end of 2017? Are you posting more frequently on Facebook now? Are you like posting versus interacting and commenting? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'm less.
You're less? Okay.
I hardly ever post on Facebook, and yet I'm on there every single day.
Right,
I ask myself why, because I'm scrolling through stuff that does nothing for me.
yeah.
And I'm not participating in much at all. Yeah.
I'd say I'm the same. I mean, the different mediums mean different things to me. And so Facebook, I think, is the same. And
that's a good point. I use Instagram differently than I do Facebook.
Right. So I think that I've been, I think Instagram has made a lot of strides in 17, and they're trying to even now introduce a regram feature in 2018, which will be super cool. But
better than using a different app.
Yeah.
Right, because you've always had to use a third party. But I think that I find myself spending more time than I used to probably on Instagram than Facebook, even though they're owned by the same damn company. But I mean, I'm always going to be on Twitter. Like, I like getting my news there. I like pitching clients there. I like talking to people there. I like doing the chats. Like, I think the immediacy of that is something I really love. Instagram changed a little bit how they do their timeline, and that, like, you probably have noticed that you'll get something that was like 3 days ago, and you're like, what? I don't get it.
Yep.
So I don't love that, and I hope they fix that, because I think that
It's tough. I follow a lot of
changes.
makers, people who make things, who post process pictures.
that's
It'll be out of sync.
It'll be
That's messed up.
God.
and it'll be and here's the finished product.
Right.
Like, finished product of what? I'll
what?
scroll a little
Right.
further, and it's like, so today I decided to do a thing, so you
I
have to,
think that forces you then to go into their profile, which, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on people's profiles, which has the chronological order, but I try to get more things in my feed. But this forces you to make more clicks, basically, for something particularly like that.
Right.
So I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Twitter and using that more. I think I've always used it more as a back channel, right? To read and kind of monitor and follow. And for me, like 2018, I'm not a resolutions person, but it's certainly to use that channel more actively, proactively, versus than just random midnight or when I'm at an event. I think it's a really great channel, especially if you can filter out some of the political news and things like that. Especially for our industry, search and the tech space, there's still a lot of really, really great conversations that are being had there. So I think from a social perspective, Twitter certainly went through its ups and downs last year. But I think moving forward, hopefully they've carved out still a good niche, and we continue to see that grow.
Yeah, I think brands need to evaluate whether or not they even need to be on Twitter, because
Great
it's
point.
a very specific,
Great point.
specific like context, and Twitter ads are not cheap, and they're not I don't want to say they're not as successful necessarily, but they're not doing the same thing that Facebook ads are doing.
Right.
Like, people don't understand like how it gets through, right? And so it might be that you see less traction in ads there, or fewer conversions or whatever, but maybe they're the right conversions. I mean, we kind of have to go back to strategy versus tactics, and what that means to us in terms of our goals or our objectives. But I think that it hasn't gone away. People have been saying it's going to go away for years now. Sort of like no one's on Facebook anymore. Well, yeah, they are. It's just that like 10-year-olds aren't, which is good because they shouldn't be.
Right.
And that's not who you want to reach anyway. I mean, from an advertising perspective.
And there's also a lot of spam on Twitter that we know about.
Yeah.
I think something like 30%
Of
accounts are spam. So, from a paid search perspective too, I was doing a bunch of research leading up to this, and just in my own general knowledge base was things that I think really stood out that we need to continue to be aware of. Big shakeups in the land of AdWords, and the AdWords machine was their rollout of the 2 times daily ad spend in October. I think at the time when that rolled out, everybody's like, let's see what happens. I mean, there was certainly an uproar and people pissed off, and we were kind of nervous about what that was going to mean. So that change was the replacement of the legacy approach, that when you run an AdWords campaign, Google could they could overspend or underspend by 20%. Now they can overspend by 2 times the budget, right? The concept is they are going to take into account the good days over the bad days and throttle up over the good days, meaning if more searches are happening, you're getting more action, let's spend more of your money during that time. Part of me says that makes sense. We have certainly seen, having run some of our short-term campaigns where we've run them, we've had some where they've had to be on and they're like a week or a 2-week blip, and they're high spend, a lot of traffic inside of, let's just say a 10-day window.
Right. You
definitely can see before that rollout and after that rollout the impact that's had. It's a lot more difficult to get those campaigns to spend evenly now over time,
right?
In the short term. Those that are longer term, that we're running more month to month and things like that, or an annual basis, it's a little bit easier to even that out.
Yeah. Q4 too, it's always tough too with different traffic pushes with the holidays and things like that.
Things are all over the place. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. More on the machine learning side, Google flipped over to this smart display campaigns. So it's completely run by machines. I mean, when I say, like, I'm not being loose about, like, they let the machine go crazy on it. No, literally all you do is you input a couple parameters, the main one being what's my target cost per acquisition, and let it go nuts. And Google's creating everything from the creative, the targeting metrics, everything like that. So the only thing you're putting in is saying, I want my CPA to be this. Let it go. They beta tested it with like Hulu and Credit Karma, and ironically, both of them had 37% increase in conversions. But it'll be interesting to see once that machine becomes smarter, if that where that goes. Does that put a dent on media planners and media buyers? I don't know. So certainly got some better audience targeting, some better spend or different spends that we need to be aware of in paid search. Not a lot of news out of Bing though, from what we've tracked. So yeah. Anybody else sharing?
I think there's some interesting stuff happening with visual search.
Oh yeah, like Pinterest and changes there.
Yeah, I think that Google wants to do more of what Pinterest is doing with their search. I also think that there's a disconnect right now. People on Pinterest are searching for concepts and ideas and other images of the same thing, whereas I think a Google user might be searching to find a source, like where something came from, rather than like how to.
But think about this too. Like, what if you could talk to your Google Home device, and it's like, hey, so I'm watching TV or I'm streaming something, and you say, okay, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to trigger my phone, but you ask it to show me other options. Show me other things like that I'm seeing in the ad, or show me other things like that I'm seeing in streaming. So tying that home device in, I'm streaming this, my home device is controlling that, and then I do a voice-activated search for images based on something that I see because I want more of that.
From your device that doesn't have any kind of display, how will it cast it to a device?
Right, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Cast to a device. That's the biggest growth I think in the home area that I'll challenge you to keep an eye on. Like this year is like it's being able to connect and cast to a visual device. That's going to be the biggest thing I think. Right? There's my prediction for you on that.
I would also like to include that we should start paying attention to some other generations here. I know millennials have kind of stolen the show for
Rule the world.
a long time now. But I think that, we need to pay attention now to Gen Z, which are those people that are born after 1995. Everybody stop and cringe for me.
Yep.
But they're the first time true digital natives, like from birth to,
How
to today.
did we skip the alphabet, focus on the phrase millennials, then get back to the alphabet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I do not make up these rules.
Okay.
I just play by them.
Our generation now has a term.
Xenial?
A xenial.
We've
Yeah.
been xenials for a while.
80 to 84 is a xenial, I think. Is that what they said?
And so the primary priority, according to science/marketing studies, is that giving back or social objectives are among their top buying motivations. And so if you go back to, there's a lot of social thinking models that we've seen over the course of the years, from Tom's to like Lush just introduced their annual report of giving, where they show every single product that they link to a specific gifting source.
Oh, interesting.
So like that might be, some village someplace that sources this bean or whatever for this product, or it could just be that it's something linked to, their, I want to say like their employee base, like they have like a vote for things, and so it's really we used to call this in the olden days cause-related marketing, but there have been lots of models that have made this leap by charging more to make you feel good, right? So you buy a pair, give a pair kind of thing, like those Bombas socks that you cannot avoid on Facebook. But they adopted the Tom's model, and
Skechers even did it too. I saw a Skechers ad the other day for their Bobs, is it?
Oh, yeah.
And they're blatant right in their ad.
Same.
We're just gonna give $3 million to it's a pet. They're going the pet focused route. So.
Yeah, and I think that the caution for this is to make it make sense and not just say, well, people like it when we give money, so we'll just dump a pile on blah 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 charity, but rather make sure that it fits within your model for like of sustainability or sourcing or the employee's favorite local whatever, and so like having a disingenuous brand is going to cause you more problems, even if you are socially conscious, than it would be if you fold it into your sustaining mission statement, vision statement.
Do you think we'll see a growth in like more B Corps or even like 1% for the planet type focused companies? Or
Maybe. First that has to gain traction on what that even does.
Yeah, sure.
I
I can tell you as a business owner and from that level, investigating the B Corp, I can tell you it's to go through that process. But from even the 1% for the planet, because that makes that's easier. But even then, I go, okay, but who controls where that money?
I don't even
where
know
does
if that's specific.
Where does it go? Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, with some of the successful existing models, it's a very specific or niche cause, so that they feel like connected, so that the purchaser feels connected to that space and place in time, and not just because the planet, which is a totally great idea. Don't get me wrong, but I think that it's harder to grab onto that. So I think that's too vague, and since we're on the topic of how people influence people, 2017 was the year of the influencer, and so user-generated content and connecting cause or person with brand in an authentic way. I keep saying authentic, transparent. I know it's boring, but people know now, like that, you're supposed to disclose. You can tag now on Instagram and get a partnership, tag basically, or a label on the photo, so that it's public information now, not just hashtag ad, like whenever they feel like it on the bottom of some really long status.
Yeah.
So there are ways to go about this now, but you have to, those are relationships, and I love that we are getting back to a real relationship and not just I dropped a pile of money on you relationship and you owe me.
That's true.
So now it's a more genuine feel to that, and that's, if you're not doing that, or if you're seeking influencers that are just popular, you're gonna have to rethink that, because it needs to be popular and relevant.
Well, and I think that influences, I think that plays into how you were thinking about all of your digital channels too. So from social and comms to your website, so we talk about on the search side of things, performance, positive user experience, content,
it all goes together.
All of those things need to it's a living, breathing thing, and you have to constantly work it and cultivate it and make sure that it's updated and is well representative of your brand and what the messaging is and things like that. Especially, more important, the Gen Z, as you put it. I think it's even still a little bit, because that's 20-somethings, if my math is correct,
just getting into purchasing with
correct.
their own money or a job or
that looking at what their search patterns are and what their online interactions are. It's a lot easier to go and look at what their interactions are through social. We'd be curious to see what their interactions are through search. You go from there. Cool.
I think what this all boils down to, honestly, is strategy before tactics.
No, 100% agree. Like always, I think it's very easy, and we've said it in the search space alone. Just because someone makes a change, someone meaning Google, Bing, it doesn't matter who it is.
Don't chase it.
That doesn't mean that you have to pull that lever instantly and deploy the parachute and be like, oh my God, let's freak out. No. Just hold on, because it might not affect you and your customer base as it does someone else.
Right.
And so don't alienate everyone else
Totally.
that's paying you money to just be able to be like,
focus.
oh,
Yeah, we need to focus.
we sell cloud computing and we need to go after Gen Z. Wait a minute. No, you don't. So I think that's a really great point. So always focus on what your strategies are. Cool. Anybody else? You guys good? You good with your predictions of 2018? Pat's the only one that had this major come out of the gate with this big prediction. Too, so I'm anxious.
You guys all gave me stink eyes.
I'm anxious to see where it goes, but no, really, really good stuff, guys. So until next time, good luck and happy 2018. Here we go.
This has been the Redirect Podcast. Check out the show notes at blacktruckmedia.com and add us on iTunes and Stitcher.